What fact sounds legit, but is actually fake? If you tell me the truth you won't get in trouble. A cop to 16-year-old me. The US $2 bill is no longer printed for circulation, and as such has been hoarded by collectors. Because it's been hoarded, it's extremely valuable. $2 bills are still being printed, though none will be printed in 2020 because there is enough supply of them to meet what little demand there is. Since they are hoarded by collectors, and money collectors are really the only people who want multiple $2 bills, there is almost no extra value in them. Basically, anyone who wants $2 bills has a stockpile of them already, and anyone who wants one and doesn't have one can easily get one from a collector or even your local bank. Since no extra value exists in them over their $2 face value, many hoarders are willing to part with a bill or two. If a baby bird falls out of a tree, touching it will make it smell human and cause the mum to abandon it. Not true. Carbon monoxide is heavier than air, so put your detectors close to the floor. The first people to die of CO poisoning are the ones lying down. Reality, CO is about the same density as air. In fact, it is actually slightly lighter than air, so it doesn't matter where you put your detectors. This myth likely started because CO fatalities are most likely to occur while people are sleeping because they are not aware of the symptoms of poisoning, that is dizziness, nausea, etc., versus those who are awake. NASA spent millions of dollars on a pen that could work in space, while the Russians just used a pencil. They didn't spend the money developing the pen, Fisher did, and then approached NASA. Always wait 24 hours before reporting a missing person. Your eyes don't grow. They do actually grow, but they grow very slowly, like really slowly. Caffeine stunts your growth. It's been scientifically proven that an average dose of caffeine has no effect on your height. Caffeine does not affect growth hormones unless it is in absurd amounts. Like 35 cups of straight caffeine, not 2 cups of coffee and a Mountain Dew. Swallowing the gum will make it stick to the stomach. If the earth moved just 10 inches, then we would all be dead. You eat 8 spiders per year while sleeping, or whatever. On the US interstate system, it was designed so that at least 1 mile in every 5 miles was straight so that it could be used as a runway by the military in case of war. This was done to appease certain politicians that opposed the massive spending on the interstate project. Hair grows back stronger after being razored off. The first video ever uploaded to YouTube had to be taken down in 2016 for violating their terms of service. If you touch your penis, you will grow hair on your palms. My grandmother used to tell me that. My palms aren't hairy, and I jerk off all the time. Coconuts have hair and produce milk, therefore coconuts are mammals. Eating carrots improves your eyesight. This nugget of false wisdom originates with World War II Allied propaganda and its efforts to conceal a technology from the Nazis. One of the ways the British defended against bombing raids was by holding blackouts to make it harder for incoming planes to find their targets. At the same time, the Allies were curiously good at shooting down German planes despite the blackouts. This needed a cover story because it's, incoming pun warning, blindingly obvious that small mobile aircraft are slightly harder targets at than large stationary factories and cities. Hence the explanation that defensive gunners were supplied with a diet high in vitamin A to promote good night vision. Hence carrots. It's true that vitamin A deficiency can contribute to vision loss. The public garbled this into a notion that excess vitamin A intake imparts supervision. Actually, what adequate vitamin A mostly does is prevent the cornea from excessive dryness, which can be one cause of clouded vision. The myth about carrots persisted in popular culture long after radar stopped being a classified technology. Not a fact. However, sweating like a pig is a phrase often used, and seldom do pigs sweat. They're always rolling around in the mud to keep cool. Roman people would use bird poop to dye their hair. True. The birds used to produce the poop were actually somewhat expensive to keep. It wasn't just random chickens. It got so popular that opportunistic people would mix together things that looked like the bird poop to sell and ended up using fats for texture and consistency and lye for color. This counterfeit poop ended up being more popular in the long run thanks to its cleaning effects. Hence, shampoo. Black holes suck in everything. If a black hole of the same mass replaced our sun, we'd still go around it as if nothing happened. Well, we'd all be frozen to death, but let's ignore that. Myth: 3 Americans every year die from rabies. Fact: 4 Americans every year die from rabies. A young Jedi named Darth Vader, who was a pupil of mine until he turned to evil, helped the Empire hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knights. He betrayed and murdered your father. You go into shock and die before hitting the ground when free falling. This is to protect your brain while losing control of your extremities. This is false. I mean, I don't think this necessarily is viewed as true by anyone anymore, but there was that whole thing about people swallow 5 spiders a year on average in their sleep that many people did go around spouting as fact maybe 10 plus years ago. It was made up by a group of people testing to see how far they could spread misinformation. Turns out the answer is pretty far. Websites that appear at the top of the search results that aren't sponsored listings earned their way to the top. As someone who is hired to help get clients to the top of Google search results, and it's something I've been doing successfully for 20 years, this is definitely not the case. There are many firms and individuals whose job is to influence those rankings to get the websites we want at the top of the results. Wait 2 hours after eating before going to swim. Total bullshit. Humans have 5 senses, 9 at minimum, more being argued by scientific community. Fire, water, earth, air. Total bullshit. For those wondering about senses, I will argue that the following counts as separate senses. The sense of time passing. The sense of knowing where your limbs are in relation to each other. This is the sense that enables you to touch your nose with your eyes closed. The sense of balance. You have a separate part of your ear dedicated to this. There's more, of course. I've heard claims of up to 27 senses, though one could argue most of them are just varieties of touch, as most of them relates to how we use our main nerve system. Any hacking is illegal. In some cases, like stealing money and shit is illegal, but hacking a game or helping people fix security is nowhere near illegal. The statement is inherently false. Astronomer here. Stars that don't twinkle are planets. Twinkling has to do with the stability of the atmosphere more than anything else. That's why even stars will look rock steady on a cold, clear night on a mountaintop. Little air movement going on compared to a muggy night in the city. Now planets, the argument goes, are not point sources due to their distance, and not as susceptible to bad seeing due to the atmosphere. We legit call atmospheric transparency that in astronomy. However, if you look into it, only Venus and Jupiter are big or close enough to be bigger than point sources from Earth. So you'll never be able to figure out if it's, say, Saturn from this method. Second, I see Venus and Jupiter twinkle all the time. Venus often twinkles because you usually see it near the horizon, so more atmosphere for the light to go through, and these days most of us live in cities with bad seeing, so you'll see Jupiter twinkle just like a star. Chloroform will easily knock you out. Not true. You gotta keep that cloth on their mouth for like 5 minutes and keep it there or they'll get up again. Hate it when that happens. In space you would instantly freeze and die. Reality, all the liquid in your body would boil because boiling temperature is 0, atmosphere is 0. Your eyes would explode. If you don't hold your breath your lungs won't explode. You won't freeze because there is nothing around you for your body heat to transfer to, and if someone grabs you and brings you back to safety within 1:15 you will survive. The common misconception that toilet seats are very dirty is surprisingly false. According to the University of Arizona, found them to in fact be relatively clean, thanks to the fact that they are often disinfected or washed. In fact, they were found to have 10 times fewer germs than cell phones. An apple contains as much caffeine as a cup of coffee. The truth, apples are thought to give you as much energy as a cup of coffee due to the nutrients and simple sugars it contains. There is no caffeine in apples. Snakes unhinge their jaws to eat prey, and that's why they can eat things many times larger than their heads. Nope. Snake jaws don't unhinge, though they are very flexible and capable of moving in very odd ways. What actually allows snakes to eat such large prey is the fact that their jaw is split at the chin. It's connected by muscle, which allows them to move each side separately from one another. If you want a way to visualize that, think of the Covenant elites from Halo Jaw, but slap some muscle in between the halves to loosely connect them. That's a snake jaw. You lose 80% of your heat through your head. Studies that concluded this looked at people not wearing hats, but also wearing clothes. If you had a naked fool standing out in the cold, he wouldn't still lose 80% of his heat through his head. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Let us know your thoughts on this topic. See you soon.